If you clicked on this video, it's because you have an Osmo Pocket 3 and either aren't getting the best looking video quality, or you want to learn how to make the colors look better from your Pocket 3 footage. Either way, I wanted to make this quick, simple tutorial on this camera and help you out because I was in the same boat, getting pretty mediocre footage until I changed these settings. Now here are my exact settings in my Osmo Pocket 3. The resolution is always set to 4K 24 frames per second. The shutter speed is always at 1/50th, and ISO is always at 200 or as close as I can stick to that. My white balance typically stays at 5500. You'll notice that with these settings, if you go outside, your image might be too bright, and that's when you want to use an ND filter. I have one on my camera right now. As you'll see, it's this little orange filter that I've added. It's magnetic. It's a third-party accessory, and DJI also makes one. It comes in a little kit depending on which one you get. My recommendation for the ND filters will be linked in the description. I will say that it doesn't really matter which one you get. I think they're all pretty similar. However, I recommend getting a fixed ND filter. Basically what that means is on Amazon or when you shop, there's a few companies that are making variable ND filters. So it means it has like a little dial on the filter, and then that will allow you to adjust the intensity of the ND. But you want to make sure that you get one that's fixed, so you can't actually adjust with a dial how dark or bright it is, because variable NDs are known to have way more color shift and way more vignetting. So your image might not look as good or as clean as if you have fixed ND filters. Basically, you can't adjust the brightness of it, and you have to manually change specific NDs depending on the intensity that you want. Now, if you're wondering what an ND filter is, an ND filter is like sunglasses for your camera, so that when the image is too bright with these recommended settings that I'm giving you, you can darken your image by putting the filter on. Now, all of these settings pretty much stay locked at all times, and I usually just change the ND filter intensity to get the right exposure because I want to keep my manual settings the same. Now you'll probably find yourself in situations though where you're in a dark setting, your ND filter isn't even on, and the image is still too dark even with these recommended settings. In those instances, the first setting I will adjust is the ISO. But keep in mind that the higher the ISO number is, the worse your image will look. But if you absolutely must brighten your image and you are in a setting that is much too dark, ISO is the first setting that I'll change. Now, if your image is looking too warm or too cold, you can change the white balance setting in your camera, but typically 5500 has worked well for me in pretty much like 80 to 90% of my shooting scenarios. Now, as you tinker with these settings, you might be wondering what you should be looking at to ensure that your image will look good when you're actually out there shooting. Now, it's common practice in the video world to expose for the highlights. In other words, exposing for the brightest parts of your image. So when you're out shooting, keep an eye on the screen and make sure that the brightest parts of your image, for example, if you're outside shooting the sky, that it's not overly bright and you can't see all the details in the sky. For example, clouds. If you're pointing it at the sky and it's totally white and you can't see the clouds, your image is probably too bright. And you probably need to add a stronger ND filter or lower your ISO. If you expose for highlights, 90% of your video clips will look better and more cinematic. Last but not least, the color of your footage. Now, color of the Osmo Pocket footage seems to be one of the most important questions and reasons that I see for the differing types of footage out there and the different qualities that we see across social media and online. Now, if you go to the comment sections of a lot of these Osmo videos on social media and online, a lot of people are wondering how to get better looking color or how to color grade your footage. I also think that the color or the color grading aspect of people's footage is what makes it look different from everyone else's and what essentially will make your Osmo Pocket footage stand apart from everyone else. Now, I'll share with you my very simple process for getting better color on your Osmo Pocket 3 video clips. First, make sure you are shooting in the color D-Log-M 10-bit. This is in the manual settings, and you'll toggle through there. There's normal, HLG, and also D-Log M, and you want to shoot in the D-Log. Your image will look more flat and desaturated on the screen, and that's okay because we want that. Now, when it comes time to edit your videos and import it into your computer, you want to use a program or editing software that allows you to put a LUT over your clips. A LUT, in simple terms, is like a filter for your video, similar to how you put a filter over a photo or a preset on a photo. Most editing softwares allow you to import LUTs and then add them to your video clip. If you want the LUT that I use for all the video clips that you've seen in this video, I'll make sure to link it in the description, but there are a lot of different types of LUTs out there. The last important step is to adjust the intensity of the LUT. This is important because the video clip might not look the best if you just drag and drop the LUT at its full 100% intensity. So I'll often put the LUT on, tweak the intensity maybe to 75, 80, see what looks best, and then I will make minor adjustments to the clip itself with contrast, shadows, and highlights. It's honestly really simple. It's not that complicating. So that's really all there is to it for me in my workflow. So to recap, you want to shoot in manual mode, you want to use an ND filter, you want to shoot in D-Log M, and use a LUT. If you want to hear my full review or thoughts on the Osmo Pocket 3, I actually made one and I'll link it below or above somewhere here. If you're this deep in the video and you found it valuable, please subscribe. I'd super appreciate it. It's kind of a newer channel. We don't really have a huge subscriber base, but that's one of our goals. And on this channel, we do cool, extra overkill setups like this one that you're watching right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.